It's time to take a look at what's happening around Wyoming for Tuesday, June 18th. I'm Wendy Corr, bringing you headlines from the Cowboy State Daily newsroom, presented by Cheyenne Frontier Days. Starting July 19th, from sunup to sundown, there's something for everyone. Check it out at cfdrodeo.com. Luckily for a young man from West Texas, an expert kayaker from Cody and his friends were in the right place at the right time after the man's raft flipped on one of the Shoshone River's worst section of rapids called the Iron Curtain. Cowboy State Daily's Mark Hines reports that the young Texan and two friends attempted that foolhardy feat Sunday afternoon in a raft they had just purchased from Walmart, but their raft flipped, throwing them into the raging waters.
There's a section of rapids there called the Iron Curtain that I guess is pretty wicked even on a good day when the river is flowing, mildly at a mere 2,500 cubic feet per second. It's currently, because of releases from the dam, flowing at about 4,500 cubic feet per second. And what happened on Sunday, some young gentleman from Texas bought a raft at Walmart and they wanted to try it out, so they put it into the river, apparently just not knowing or realizing or appreciating how dangerous that was. Experts won't even try to go through the Iron Curtain right now.
Two of the young men were fortunate enough to make it to shore, but the third man was caught in an eddy. Volunteers, including those experienced kayakers from Cody, were able to reach the bull rider from Texas, who was treated for symptoms of hypothermia. Dramatic body cam video from a fatal confrontation with a domestic violence suspect released by the Casper Police Department Monday shows an officer shooting 7 shots at the suspect, then attempts to save the man's life. Cowboy State Daily's Dale Killingbeck reports that the more than 22-minute video shows body cam footage from several officers at the scene June 6th when 26-year-old Trey Spurlock repeatedly refused to comply with directives.
And at the end, during the video, he said that, he wasn't going to go to jail. He did make a comment about death by police. The officer had advised him that he was going to be tased. The taser goes off. The suspect bolts onto the balcony, and then there's 7 quick shots that go off, and then video showing police administering first aid.
Court records in Natrona County Court showed that Spurlock had previous involvement with the court system related to domestic violence. One of the largest producers of helium in the world comes from the ExxonMobil plant in LaBarge. Cowboy State Daily's Pat Mayo reports that the facility, which provides 20% of the world's supply, is set to expand and could double its workforce in the next year.
The prices of helium have literally doubled since 2020. So instead of costing, let's say, $250 per 1,000 cubic feet of helium, it's now $500 per 1,000 cubic feet of helium. So there's money to be made here. And ExxonMobil is going to be right at the middle of it all in LaBarge.
ExxonMobil's sprawling LaBarge operations span across Lincoln, Sublette, and Sweetwater counties in southwestern Wyoming. I'll be back in just 15 seconds with more news.
In southwest Wyoming, wide open space is waiting. This is how we explore it. In Rock Springs and Green River, Wyoming. Plan your adventure at explorewy.com.
A 30-year-old Sheridan woman is accused of swinging a knife at her boyfriend and friends after a twerking battle ended poorly at her home. Jade Roundstone's aggravated assault and battery case rose to the felony-level Sheridan County District Court last week, according to Crime and Courts reporter Claire McFarland.
The allegation is that they got in an argument after having a twerking battle. The women had a twerking battle and it didn't go well, and Roundstone is alleged to have gotten upset and held a knife in the air saying, "I'm going to stab you," to her boyfriend and another female. I talked to Roundstone's mother on Monday, and she said, my daughter has been trying. She's got these kids. She lost her arm in a car accident when she was 11. I love her very much, and I wish I could help her.
If convicted, Roundstone could face up to 11 years of incarceration. There are many things that the state of Wyoming uses that can be attributed to former House Speaker Fred Parody, who died over the weekend. Parody, who represented Rock Springs, served in the Wyoming House from 1995 to 2004 and as House Speaker from 2003 to 2004. He also served as chairman of the Wyoming Republican Party, and Cowboy State Daily's Leah Wolfson reports that his colleagues praised Parody as being both tough and compassionate.
He was always looking decades ahead with whatever fiscal decisions he made with legislation, really trying to set up Wyoming for a really strong future, both economically and even in some cases culturally. He was also a co-sponsor on the Hathaway Scholarship that passed in 2005. So he was really always trying to be looking to the future of what Wyoming's numbers and fiscal state was going to be far down the road.
Parody and his wife had been living in Juneau, Alaska when he died. And this past Sunday, the townspeople of Esterbrook, Wyoming, celebrated the 20th anniversary of the Bring Your Horse to Church event to celebrate Father's Day. They call it Buckboard Sunday, and it's become quite the community affair, according to Cowboy State Daily's Renee Jean.
It's an old-fashioned church service. They invite everyone to come to church on a horse or a buckboard. Buckboard's kind of just another word for a buggy. So horse and buggy. There's a big potluck after the church service. These are recipes that come from the Esterbrook community. While the biscuits and the eggs and all of that are being made, musicians start showing up too. The Esterbrook Church is situated right in front of Laramie Peak. It's a very scenic place, so it's so cool to eat breakfast, drink your cowboy coffee from the chuck wagon before church services, and hear all the music floating around.
The star of the chuck wagon breakfast are the famous biscuits, which are made from the same recipe every year. And that's today's news. Get your free digital subscription to Wyoming's only statewide newspaper by hitting the daily newsletter button on cowboystatedaily.com. And you can watch this newscast every day by clicking subscribe on our YouTube channel. I'm Wendy Corr for Cowboy State Daily.